The Razer Kishi controllers have been around for many years, and this year the Razer Kishi V3 has three different variants. There's the standard model, which is the V3, there's the V3 Pro, and then there's the V3 Pro XL, made specifically for tablets. Yes, we're talking about tablet gaming, and we also have the ability of obviously charging our device using a headphone jack, added functionality to devices that we no longer have that function, and also the ability of actually customizing and even replacing certain parts depending on the system you pick up. This is TK, and these are the Razer Kishi V3 series of controllers for your smartphone, for your foldable smartphone, for your tablet, and even for your PC. Let's check them out and see what makes them so special. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever you have new videos for you on the channel. So what I have in front of us is all of them, and I just want to go real quick on the specific functionalities or intended purpose use for each one of them. The V3 is the base model version, and it's intended for Android and iPhones, and of course intended for smartphone gameplay. As you can see here, this is basically what you're getting here. It connects via USB-C. It does have an Android and an iPhone app. You do definitely need to download the application. When we go to the V3 Pro, we're actually able to accommodate Android smartphones, iPhones, as well as iPad minis. And actually, this is where you're also able to use foldable smartphones because of the form factor that we get. Again, USB-C connection, and of course Android and iOS, as well as iPad configuration. And this will also work for Android tablets. It's not listed here, but it does work there. And also, one of the other things that it's also not listed here is that this is also compatible with PC gaming, meaning we can wiredly connect this directly into a PC and use it as a controller for our favorite games. Now lastly is the V3 Pro XL. Now this one is full-size iPad as well as Android tablets. The main form factor here essentially is up to 13-inch tablets can be supported on here, and you can definitely see the accessory size, or at least the form factor is actually large enough to work. And of course, as you can see here, this is intended for tablets. Smartphones won't fit, foldable smartphones won't fit. It's actually pretty much meant for large form factor tablets, and that's the beautiful thing about it. If you like gaming on tablets, the XL is the model to go with. Now when it comes down to some of the differences between the two, for the most part, the V3 is pretty much the smallest form factor, and then there's certain limitations as far as customizations. But the V3 Pro and the V3 Pro XL are for the most part exact, with the exception of the size of the actual system, and of course the price point on those as well. So for the standard V3, the primary things we want to keep in mind is it has full-size TMR thumbsticks, and this is actually true to all of the three models. Full-size controller form factor, so the nice thing is that we have the nice grip, the configuration, the D-pad, as well as the of course the buttons, as well as the triggers on the top, and even configurations on the back here with the back button. Unparalleled case compatibility. The areas on the side of the actual case allow us to actually accommodate smartphones with cases on them, and it also even has replaceable pads included in the box. Dual mouse click back button functionality, those are positioned on the back, powered by the Razer Nexus game launcher that you're able to install directly on Android or iOS. Wired and remote play for PC, which means we're able to use the Razer Nexus, which is free and no subscription required, to be able to play games remotely from our PC. Seamless connectivity and convenience because it actually just connects and it works, and it's pretty simple to customize. Once you download the application, which is the launcher, you can customize the buttons to your personal preference or connect it directly to the PC using the USB-C port. And the last thing, of course, is the back buttons are also present on all of the different models. Now, where the Pro and the Pro XL kind of exceed here, the Pro XL, as I mentioned to you guys, can go up to all the way up to 13 inches as far as the tablet support. Now, the Pro will support the iPad mini as well as small form factor up to 8-inch tablets as well. We have the dual mouse click back buttons, as I mentioned to you guys. Now, the full-size TMR thumbsticks on the Pro and the Pro XL are swappable, and they do include a couple of additional ones. Full-size controller form factor, of course, we talked about, fits iPad, Android tablets, as well as PC. Powered by the Razer Nexus applications, unparalleled case compatibility, again, a few inserts included, wired and wireless connectivity, and of course, the headphone jack is included on the bottom below the USB-C connection. Now, taking a look real quick at the V3, this is, again, the base model of the three that we're looking at here. We get the controller directly positioned or housed within this nice foam configuration, and the controller itself does expand. And again, it's intended for smartphones. It has a couple of inserts here that you're able to remove and actually replace, because they do provide us the additional ones over here. So if your case for some reason doesn't fit directly with the level here that we have, let's go ahead and put this back. As you can see, you could just put it back and it sits exactly. And the same thing with the piece on the left. It's intended to fit most devices, even including cases. The buttons are very nice, very responsive, very good. The TMR thumbsticks here. And the pulling rate that we have here is up to 8,000 hertz, which is definitely very nice. The buttons are positioned on the front. There's two triggers on the top, right, left, and of course the back buttons on the bottom. Very nice and very configurable. The last thing I do want to mention is that the joysticks here, although they're the same joysticks that we get on the Pro and the Pro XL, they're non-removable. So you notice right here, I can't remove it. You have the Razer name on here, the USB-C port that matches to the USB-C connection here. This is how we'll be able to actually charge our device, as well as the ability to actually plug in our headphone jack for low latency and best audio experience. So no issue as far as listening to audio. The other thing I do want to mention here, you'll notice that there's a few grills here, the way the grills are positioned. And this is to accommodate smartphone speakers that hit on the side that are not front facing. So what it ends up doing here is it hits the side of the actual controller and the audio kind of comes through the side ports on the side here. And this is to accommodate stereo speakers. So it's positioned on both sides. Very nice, very sturdy, and again, expands to fit most smartphones, including their cases. Of course, an example here, the S25 Ultra, I would just go ahead and basically position on one side, expand it, and at this point you're able to basically use it, configure it, and there's enough space in the back for heat dissipation. And of course, now we have full access to our display, no issues as far as playing games. Again, install the Nexus, the gaming Nexus application directly from the Google Play Store on your Android device or iOS, and it's going to work perfectly great for you guys. So this is the Pro version of it. The way you know it right away is, of course, we have that additional button on the top, so the two triggers with the button on the top. The same area here, we have the experience to be able to replace them, so in case we want to put them out and remove them, they do include them. They're very easily removed if you don't need them, and you actually can use them without them. What I like about them, of course, is the expansion function. This expands a little bit wider than the standard V3, and we still have access to the back buttons on the back here the way that we have them. The USB-C connection on the side here, as well as the audio configuration. One thing I do want to mention, though, that there is no video pass-through on this. It's purely for power, to power our device. And if you're going to use the controller for basically a wired controller to your PC, this is where you'd be able to connect it directly into your PC and play games. I was using it to play Wukong, playing different games on my PC, and of course, it works just like a regular controller. The moment you plug it in, the system recognizes it. As long as your game supports controllers, this is going to work right out of the box, and you can customize the buttons the way you want them. They give us a small little instruction, of course, on how to connect and replace the pieces. And as I mentioned to you guys, the Pro does have the additional pieces. So now you can see here, there's the instruction manual is sitting here in the back. So the additional inserts, the Pro does include two separate pieces. So there is a C configuration, a B configuration, and the one that comes with it. Now this one is the standard V3 Pro. And when we compare it to the V3 Pro XL, you could definitely see the difference between the two. It's primarily intended to accommodate the additional hardware needed for it to get all the way up to a 13-inch tablet, which makes this the only reason you would end up getting the XL model. That's because this is the only reason you'll be able to fit it. It fits large form factor up to 13 inches. Now, as I mentioned to you guys in the beginning, we do have replaceable joysticks, so you could basically just remove them. There is a little bit of a sign here. There's like a little dot that tells you exactly where to align it, put it on, and you're able to basically customize it, replace it, and you can see here the reflex. There's not going to be any drag in here. Very nice and very straightforward. The two additional ones that they give us obviously just for better configuration. You'll notice there's the longer form factor one here, depending on the joystick or the thumbstick that you want, or the shorter one, and you can actually just replace them, and they all have that same little dot. The moment you see the dot, you'll know exactly where to align it. Now, what I mean by this is the OnePlus Pad 3. This is, again, up to 13 inches. So what you end up doing essentially is you align it. You'll notice here the USB-C connector on the side. So you plug it in from one side, extend it to the other side, and now, of course, our tablet is configured exactly to the way we want it. You'll notice right there, no obstruction, no issues. The handles are very nice. The speakers are already kind of firing sideways at the top. So in tablets format like this, the side area here is not as important because depending on the speaker placement that you have. And of course, you're able to basically configure, use them as just regular joysticks and install the Nexus application to customize the experience on your smartphone or even your tablet. And just for reference real quick, so you'll notice right there, this is the standard controller, the standard joystick here. And this is obviously a little bit higher as far as the joystick here. Again, depending on the personal preference that you have, it looks really good. And again, it's very, very responsive, and there should be no issues, no drag or no drift issues on this thumbstick. Lastly, if you want something a little bit shorter and again, a little better control, this one's more rounded as far as the top. Same thing, very nice, very responsive. And the configuration is very simple. Now, because of the form factor that we get here with the V3 Pro, this is going to be my favorite one because it's in between the V3 and the V3 Pro XL. The XL is primarily meant for tablets, and if you're playing that way, again, for me on Android, the OnePlus Pad 3, the Pad 2 worked perfectly. It does not support some of the larger ones, of course, so just be aware of the size of your tablet. It has to be basically a maximum of 13 inches diagonal. One of the reasons the V3 Pro is my favorite version of the 3 controllers that we have in here, and that's primarily because it supports smartphones, it supports small form factor tablets. Now, obviously, the Z Fold 7 fits both of those to the T. So if I want to use it as a smartphone, I can just basically align it. The USB-C port is on the bottom, and I can use it like a regular smartphone. But where the Z Fold 7 excels, it's at the ability of converting itself into a large form factor tablet. So let's go ahead and unlock the device. And of course, now when we connect it into an 8-inch tablet, this becomes a large form factor gaming experience, which means I can go from smartphone to tablet in the same, well, using the same device. And of course, download, install the customization option here. And of course, we can directly connect to my PC using the remote play. We can look at popular games. You can download additional games. You can even connect to Xbox, Steam Link. And the reason this becomes functional is because when I open it up, and now we're using it as a tablet, I can play with it as a standard smartphone or a tablet. Here with the Razer Sensa HD haptics that we get on the V3 and the V3 Pro XL, this becomes very nice. Like as I'm moving the actual controller here, it's actually giving me a feedback directly within the controller. Also, one thing to mention, the V3 Pro and the Pro XL both have a built-in battery where the V3 does not. And again, as I mentioned to you guys, now we have access to a headphone jack to a smartphone that didn't have one in the beginning. We lost the headphone jack, but this system brings it back. Unfortunately, no video pass through here on this USB-C. I do hope that that becomes a functional option, as I personally love playing games on devices like these, or even using it with, let's say, XR glasses to be able to play games on them using this as a controller. Very nice. Again, no heating issues, no configuration problems at all. There is space in the back for heat dissipation. It works perfectly. Customize the joystick, the thumbstick, the configuration as far as the buttons. Click OK. You can launch your favorite game directly. And as you can see here, I've already customized my button layout here specifically made for the game. For Call of Duty Mobile, unfortunately, it does not support the V3, well, the Kishi series at all as far as native support. I know there's other ones on the markets that do. This one, you just need to configure your layout. And as long as you can configure that, you can go in between the joystick configuration. You can also add different buttons, change the different options that you want. Once you have them saved, it'll load next time when you launch the game and you're ready to go. Customize the triggers, the back buttons, the options in here, everything that you want, and the game just runs the way you're supposed to. It's enjoyable, it's fun, it's easy to go with. Again, form factor does not matter. You can switch it between one or the other. So between all three of them, what I really like about them is the fact that all three are mirrored experiences with some optimizations or some features as you go into the Pro and then the Pro XL. The standard V3, again, same triggers that we have, same joysticks that we have on both. We just can't replace the thumbsticks. The D-pad is in there pretty much. We have one set of replaceable inserts in here to be able to accommodate devices with cases. And again, provides you that separation between your smartphone and the back of the actual controller for heat dissipation. So no issues if your device warms up a little bit. The customizations and the functional options using the Nexus application makes it very nice. You're still able to use a remote play, as I would play in this again, using the V3 Pro, connecting it via wired onto my PC and playing games using my controller on my PC. And then of course, flipping that over using the Nexus remote play to be able to connect and play games directly from my PC on my smartphone. So you're getting the feasibility of being able to use all of those without paying any subscriptions like some of the other options. Now, yes, out of the box, this does not have 100% compatibility with what I would probably say is Call of Duty, my favorite personal game, and I do need to customize the little buttons in there. But outside of that, it actually pretty much is a straightforward experience. The really nice thing about it is with foldable smartphones is you're getting the smartphone functional version of it, which again is 16:9 or depending on the form factor. But you're also able to expand it and use a full-size 8-inch tablet. So as long as the games are working great, you're going to be able to play in kind of like in the middle ground, and that's where the V3 Pro excels. There is no battery built into the standard V3 and the entry-level version of it, so the V3 for the most part gives you the entire experience of what basically Razer wants us to get out of their V3 or the Kishi controller. Where the V3 Pro and the XL kind of give us a little bit more customizations, where the Pro moniker comes in, of course, the XL moniker. And you can kind of see real quick the main difference between the two, why this is an XL. So the expansion by itself already, that's where the hardware kind of becomes where it needs to be. But personally, I'm an Android user, so all my hardware here is going to be Android related. So for the most part, if you're an Android user, this is going to work on your smartphones. This is going to work on your smartphone that fold. And of course, it'll also work on your PCs as well as your Android tablet. So it really works nicely. And this will also work on your Mac. Although, if I'm not mistaken, I think that compatibility is not 100%. I think intentionally for PC gaming, as I was playing with my PC here behind me, running my 4090, it it just worked beautifully. I plugged it in, I played a couple of games there. It works really nice. Playing games directly on the go with this, I enjoyed this with my Z Fold 7. I enjoyed this with my Red Magic Astra. Again, small form factor Android tablet, as well as any of my other smartphones. It's easy, very simple. What I would probably say is my only two wishes for Razer in the future generation of the Kishi series is a couple of things. First, please give us video output on the USB-C. Allow us to be a fully functional extension of the USB-C option. And that's because a lot of our smartphones now support video out over USB-C. And I feel like that's something we lose once we start using the Kishi. Not a deal breaker, but it's something for me as I like to use XR glasses, meaning leveraging the power of my smartphone, the power of the controller and the gaming haptics that we get with it, but marrying that to a display that I can put on my face and that mirrors a large form factor TV, taking this experience way to the next level. The second thing, I really wish we had a carrying case. Not that there's anything issue with here, but if you put this in your case, and let's say you're traveling, which my case has been the situation with the V3 Pro, is that I end up putting it in my case, and then by the time I get to my location where I'm going, the thumbstick ends up falling out and it falls. And that's not by any cause that it's loose. It's because there's just too many things in the actual backpack that I'm using this. And sometimes it'll just end up getting tangled or something and it pulls off and I end up finding it at the bottom of the backpack. So a case, maybe just even a bag would probably fix this issue for me. So those are the couple of things I would probably say. But I think if you're looking for a gaming controller or a gaming controller for your mobile device, be it iPad, tablet, PC, even remote play, all of that, Razer Kishi hits it out of the park and of course will work with almost everything. Just some things may need a little bit of customization, but other applications you can plug it in and it works great. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you to Razer for allowing me to check out the V3, the V3 Pro, and the V3 Pro XL. Let me know in the comments below which one do you guys like, and of course, what is your current configuration as far as gaming? Do you like controllers or do you like to play directly on your smartphone? I'll see you in the next video.